that shirt.
It's so fire. I love it. It's so comfy too.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to one of the final player profile and projections brought to you by the Shea Station. Guys, that's Jerry. I'm Jolly. And we have a very important PPP for you guys today. One of the two aces of the team. It's Jacob deGrom time.
Today I am Jerry, but I am also Jolly. Because we got some, decent news about Scherzer and his hammy, and he seems like happy to go. We'll find out more when he does a fielding test, but I get to talk about Jacob deGrom, even though he is on the shelf for the foreseeable future. I love to talk about how good he is and how much I enjoy his ridiculous ability to throw a baseball.
Yeah, for those listening who probably just listened to our Tyler McGill and David Peterson episode, we now have the confirmed news that deGrom is on the shelf for the foreseeable future. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. We're also going to be talking about how stupidly good Jacob deGrom is as well. Before we get to all that, we got to tell you about the sponsor for today's video, which is MANSCAPED. Ladies and gentlemen, baseball is back, and we're sliding into home plate this spring with freshly shaved balls. Wait. You heard that right. We're smoother than Trey Turner's slide after a partnership with Manscaped. The global leaders in below the waist grooming are helping men take care of their baseballs because chicks don't only dig the long ball, but also clean balls. Join the other 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code SHEA. They have the full package to help you out this season. The Performance Package 4.0, something that I use personally, checks every box and is the 5-tool star you've been searching for your ball club. To start it off, the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is getting hyped as the Mike Trout of trimmers. This is an amazing ad copy, by the way. And after using it, your confidence level will be sky high, in and out to get the job done in just a few minutes. Something that Rob Manfred can't say about anything. These guys deserve like a Pulitzer Prize or something like that. We also got the Weed Whacker in here, tons of skin-safe technology to prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate places. Rumor has it that one of the league's biggest issues during the lockout was legalizing the use of ball deodorant and ball toner for players, but luckily that's no longer an issue. You won't get kicked out of the league for using Manscaped's best tools. All of this comes in the Performance Package 4.0, and you guys can get that for nice and cheap, 20% off with free shipping if you use the code SHEA at manscaped.com. Don't miss out on this opportunity, and thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring today's PPP.
Code SHEA. I like it.
Love
Bravo
Code
to you for that, and also to their writers or whoever put that together.
They're just making me look good, man.
I legitimately couldn't hold back a little bit of laughter when you slid into home with clean balls or freshly shaven balls.
I think it was great that we had that ad on today's episode because there is some serious things to talk about with Jacob deGrom. It's not a light episode like we originally had hoped it would be when we planned out the calendar.
I'm still going to keep it light, Jolly. I'm not going to lie.
Love it. That's what we need
There's
today.
fact, and then there's also there's fact about him being injured.
Yep.
But there's also a fact that he is still the best pitcher on the planet. There's some issues with him coming into age 34 season. Obviously, there's a lot of negatives and negative attitude right now around it. It's tough. It's a big loss. It still sucks. I'll randomly just be like, damn, we're not going to be able to watch him for a while. It doesn't change the fact that he's amazing. And it doesn't change the fact that we can talk about, how we can project. There's some issues with innings and games started, and we'll cover that later, but he's still head and shoulders. We signed Scherzer, and we'll talk about him at another episode, but deGrom is like here. Then Max Scherzer, who's a guaranteed Hall of Famer, is here. Like there's a gap on ability. It's wild.
I mean, we just were able to witness perhaps the best half season of any starting pitcher ever. I mean, deGrom was on pace to maybe have the best starting pitcher season ever if he stayed healthy the whole run of the way. Last year, he threw 92 innings, but they were some of the best innings of baseball that I got to witness. To just rattle off his little leaderboard here, minimum 90 innings pitched from last year, 1.08 ERA, first in MLB, 0.55 whip, first in MLB, 1.24 fielding independent pitching, first in MLB, 45% strikeout percentage, first in MLB, 3.4 walk percentage, first in MLB, 128 batting average against, first in MLB. There was quite literally no one that was even in the stratosphere of Jacob deGrom last year. And if you're a Mets fan listening, you already know about how good deGrom is, but it goes back even further than that. I mean, since 2017 or 2018, this guy has been practically untouchable compared to every other major league pitcher besides maybe Garrett Cole, who's the only person that led him in strikeout percentage in that 4-year window. So yes, it's a seismic loss for the Mets, obviously, but the 2022 Mets are well prepared for this because of the addition of Max Scherzer. This team last year did not know how to handle losing deGrom. There was nobody that could possibly replace that production. And like you said before, Scherzer is, a little bit below deGrom, but he's still a guaranteed Hall of Famer and has started so many opening days in a row, has been the ace on every staff that he's been on practically for the past 10 years. So I'm still feeling good about this 2022 Mets team.
Like we legitimately, in my view, have the best two pitchers in the game. They are both older. They are both, have huge question marks as far as health goes, even though Scherzer's kind of unfair to think of him as a lack of health, which we'll cover later.
Sure.
But they're the best two pitchers. I mean, you could make an argument for Garrett Cole, but outside of that, like these are your guys. Walker Buehler is still kind of coming into his own, whatever the case may be. Verlander's coming off Tommy John.
Corbin Burns had a really good year, but I want to see more.
But in a short, a such smaller amount. He's just asked to do the least. These two guys, especially Scherzer, are workhorses. And deGrom, I looked at deGrom's half season and how good it was in context. And we talk about it with starters. His whip in that half season, 92 innings last year, was .554. Like, that is absurd. 3.9 hits per 9 innings.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. That's a lot of innings to throw. And I think about it as a reliever myself to compare to what he did to other relievers, like in a short amount of season. So before I even say this is different.
Yeah.
deGrom did this as a starter, meaning he's facing hitters 3 times every game. So it's even harder what he did, because relievers come in, whether you're throwing 1 inning or multiple innings, you're still only facing those guys once. And anytime a hitter faces a pitcher for the second and third time, the advantage goes to the hitter. So I wanted to, I think about Eric Gagne's season with the Dodgers when he won the Cy Young.
Mm-hmm.
He was perfect. He had 55 saves. So he went 82 in a third innings, 10 less innings, 37 hits, which is in a hits .9 is actually above 4.0 versus deGrom's under 4.
Mm-hmm.
And he had 137 strikeouts, and Jake had 146 strikeouts. Now, strikeouts per 9, I think he got him 14.3 versus 15, but it's also facing 3 guys at a time. His ERA, the year he won it, was 1.2 in 82 innings. This guy won the Cy Young as a reliever with a 1.2 ERA, 55 saves. Jacob deGrom threw 10 more innings, had a 1.08, a lower whip. Everything that he did is he still finished 9th in the Cy Young Award,
which is insane.
It's insane.
I think that maybe if he gets 5 more starts and gets to 120 innings, there's a real shot that he just wins the award because of how.
I think if he gets over, what did he throw?
Burns threw about, I think, 170 to.
I'm going to look it up real quick.
And I want to use that reliever analogy that you used before. We always fawn over how good Aaron Loup was last year.
167 innings.
Yeah, so that's a good number, I think, honestly. That's a standard.
No, it's not. Not for a Cy Young winner. In my view, that's personal.
Yeah, of course. But Loup, when he practically let nobody on and got out of every jam last year, that was a 0.94 whip, just to put a gauge on how ridiculous 0.55 is comparatively.
It's absurd. What he was doing last year was frustratingly amazing to not see it ever happen. You know what I mean? To not see more of it. And I think this is the thing. I always talk about deGrom being his teammate in, starting in 2015, but when he really stepped up in 2018, watching him pitch every fifth day it's a highlight of my career, because I got to see the best baseball player on the planet doing his job on a day-to-day basis. And it's unbelievable. And then, injuries, the shortened season, the COVID season, I think this is the genesis of all his ailments that are happening now, because of the lack of work, whatever happened, that robbed him of, if he finishes that season, that robbed him of a third straight Cy Young. We wouldn't have to talk about Trevor Bauer ever again,
would be nice,
which I would be okay with. But his prime is better than anything I've ever seen. Like Pujols had an unbelievable run as an offensive player. His 10 years in St. Louis were catastrophic, like on a level, you had Kershaw, what he did as a young starter with the Dodgers, whatever the case may be. deGrom, what he's doing in this window still, even though he's hurt, and it's frustrating, if you look at it, take a step back and look at it at a macro level, it's still astounding. We're still witnessing history.
And we might still witness it this year. I feel like a lot of Mets fans, the sky is falling because we're confirmed to not see him for at least the first 4 weeks of the season. It is a right scapula injury, but the best part about it—
Say scapula?
Scapula. I was going to brush past it and then you just went
I'm not going to let that
it.
slide. I'm not going to let that slide.
It's messed up. But no damage to the muscles, tendons, or ligaments. It's simply waiting for a bone to heal, which is encouraging because it's basically just on deGrom's body to heal himself. The best case scenario seems to be a June 1st return. That's sort of the consensus around the league right now. But I mean, what I saw from the 2022 Steamer projection was actually very encouraging to me. They still have him at 19 games started, 114 innings pitched, a 2.57 ERA, 0.93 whip. That's still a large chunk of the season. And if you get a full year out of Max Scherzer, which is back on the table now, I think these 2022 Mets are still in contention to be easily the best rotation in the league.
I do as well. I think, if he's back June 1st, and Scherzer's healthy and Bassett's healthy, and I think they're still the best rotation. I think hands down. I think deGrom, if he's back June 1st, still has a legit chance at winning the Cy Young.
Yeah. So a quote that we got from Newsday here from deGrom himself says, structurally, everything looks fine. So once the bone heals, we'll be ready to go and build up from there and hopefully be healthy for the rest of the year. So deGrom obviously is frustrated. There's no question in that at all. But I think that this, weirdly enough, is kind of the best case scenario. Things could have been a lot worse with this kind of injury. So hopefully it's a speedy recovery. Hopefully 4 weeks is the minimum and we get to see deGrom still in the first half of the season, which would be a huge win for Mets fans.
Yep, I agree. These, I don't know. So we're talking projections here. There's a little bit. So with this stress reaction, I think this is the same thing that Zach Wheeler dealt with. And he had his in his humerus bone,
right,
when he was coming back off his first full season. And it was just like what you're doing as throwing a baseball is so unnatural to your body. And at that level, and letting him throw so long it's like creating these little miniature fractures. And so the stress reaction is basically tiny little breaks in your bone, and then it heals up stronger. And so the fact that it's going to get a chance to heal up is good. I played with Brandon McCarthy, who dealt with the same exact thing often. I think it happened to him 5 times in his career. So that's a little bit scary as far as re-aggravating it. Again, I am not a doctor. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm only going off of my very minuscule amount of experience with things that I think might be similar. And so I think there's, a lot of possibilities of him waiting a little bit longer than that to properly heal it up, let it heal itself. Like a bone is, when you break a bone, you're never supposed to be able to break it in the same spot again, because of the calcification of the bone gets stronger than it ever was in that area. And so that's, if you let it heal, hopefully it's never going to happen again. So that's the whole.
Jerry Blevins, PhD right there. I love that.
No,
what was that word
PhD.
you used? Calcification?
That is not a PhD.
Wow.
I will never claim that.
My goodness.
I am a college dropout, a la Kanye West. But I do have some experience with guys similar issues. You know, it's a weird one because, and again, it could, I don't know. I just know that it's still a little bit of sensitive area, but I expect him to bounce back. So let's just hop right into the over-unders here.
Before we do that, for Mets fans that still have the Mets in their World Series prediction this year, with the good news we've received, we got a special event to tell you guys about with our buddies over at Talkin' Baseball. As most of you know, if you're a John Boy Media fan, on March 31st of last year, Trevor Plouffe made his World Series prediction via Twitter, and it was exactly correct, with the Braves going over the Astros in 6 games. The story picked up national attention and earned millions of views on social media, so naturally, we got to do it again and make a huge show of it. So tonight at 6:30 p.m. on the Talkin' Baseball YouTube, they're going live from the DraftKings Lounge at the John Boy Media headquarters. Trev's coming in via stream, and he's going to announce his prediction again. I hope that the Mets are included because, you know, I'm a little biased there as well, but it'll be live on the DraftKings Sportsbook app as well immediately after the announcement. So guys, 6:30 p.m. tonight Eastern time. Check out Talkin' Baseball's YouTube and don't miss that stream. It's going to be a lot of fun.
This
now
is a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
This is like the Braves over Astros in 6, like prediction.
The in 6 is what got
on
me.
Trevor Plouffe. Like, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to tune in and see what he's got in store. There's a lot of pressure on him to repeat.
Yeah.
Near impossibility. It's a near impossibility. But I am pulling for him, especially if he, like I did, I still picked the Mets. You can see my SNY like projections. I still had deGrom in there.
Yeah.
I think I pulled deGrom out of winning the Cy Young. They didn't, give us a whole lot of leeway to change, and I wasn't ready to commit one way or the other.
I mean, that is an interesting question, though.
What's that?
Like, if deGrom gets to 120 innings pitched and he has a similar year to last year, like, does he weasel his way into Cy Young contention? Like, maybe.
Very possible. Well, we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited for Plouffe. Talking baseball, those guys are awesome. So if you like us and the Mets podcast, John Boy guys are incredible. If you haven't, most of the guys most of the fans kind of listen to a little bit of everything, but the Talking Baseball crew is awesome.
Well, I got one over under here. I'm pretty sure we might have the exact same one. It's, you don't think so? Okay, that's good.
I don't know. I mean, we might, but go ahead.
It's health based, obviously, because
so is mine.
Okay, so mine is over under on games started.
It's the same.
Yeah, I knew. All right, come on. We had to have the same one, but it's an important one to have. I feel like if we're ever going to be unified on one, it needs to be with Jacob deGrom. Over under. Mine is 15.5 games started. 15 was the number from last year. Can deGrom pitch more than he did last year? Because in my mind, even though it's not ideal, that is a win for Mets fans. If we can get over 100 innings of deGrom, it's not what you want, but for this 2022 Mets team, it's what they need.
I'm gonna vote first.
Okay.
You had what was the over under?
It's at 15.5 games.
15.5. Okay. I'm going to take the over. I had mine set at 18.5 because all the projections, the lowest they have is 19. And I was going to take the under on 19. And so that was a little bit scary for me there. But if I'm going to take the over on yours.
I'm going to take the over as well. I think 19 would have been pushing it for me as well, because we don't know what the future holds for deGrom.
We don't know.
There's no way to know. But I think, obviously, we're an optimistic pod. That's just our moniker. That's how we go. But I think that getting more games than last season, that's the general goal I want to hit here. I mean, we can't shoot for the stars anymore. We're already missing them for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. Like, no one really knows. But if you can get deGrom for 4 months of a 6-month regular season and have him in the playoffs, I think that's a victory.
Awesome. I'm gonna bring a brand new spot on over under here.
Wow.
So looking last year, he made 15 starts through 92 innings, finished 9th in the Cy Young. So my over under is, will he finish at 9.5 or up? If you go take the over, he's going to be in the top 9 again in Cy Young voting. What do you got?
I like this one. This is a good Jerry on the spot over under. I gotta say.
I mean, I do my best here. You put the pressure on me. That's when I shine.
Damn,
like a diamond.
So I want to check out his Cy Young history. Obviously, we know that he's won a pair of them. I want to see. So I'm the basis here is that if he gets about 16 starts, that's about 100 innings. So he's placed 8th, 7th, won it twice, 3rd, and 9th. So every time he's qualified for it, other than 2016 and 2014, he's been at least top 9.
So 14, he won the Rookie of the Year. Then 15, he went 7th. 16, he was up and down, 24 starts after the World Series hangover. You just don't know how to do your off season after pitching for an extra 6 weeks. Then he went 8th, win it 3rd, and then last year he only threw 92 innings. He got 9th.
If I take the over here, that means he's higher than 9th in Cy Young voting. He's
at least 9th or okay. He's in the top 9.
Let's take the over. I think it's kind of hinging on my game started poll there. Like if we only get 10, then I don't even think he gets votes. But if we get 15 to 16 to the 19 that Fangraphs projected, I'm very optimistically taking Jacob deGrom as a top 8 pitcher in the NL right there. I think that's not too far-fetched to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really young, talented starters coming up. This is a great era for baseball. There's a lot of just really young talent coming in, but I'm still going to bet on Jacob deGrom. I'm going to bet on, what I want to see. I want to see him healthy. I want to see him log as many innings as he can. And if he does both of those things, he's going to be elite, and that is top 9. So I'll take the over on there as well.
We were eternal optimists this episode. I feel like Mets fans need to hear it. Mets fans breathe. Max Scherzer will be pitching the first week of the season. Jacob deGrom will be back before you know it. And the Mets will be steering for a very competitive 2022 season that I'm feeling pretty good about.
I'm with you. I think this is still a tough time for Mets fans because Jacob deGrom is amazing, but still be optimistic. It's still fun. Opening day is right around the corner. A couple days.
I mean, by the time this goes out, it's tomorrow. So that's pretty fun.
That's
we're
lovely.
In the future. So guys, thank you for listening to the second to last player profile and projection. We have one more for you before it's all over and we get back into the regular season swing. I'm pretty sure you guys can deduce who it'll be tomorrow, but we'll see you guys tomorrow for
one man, 2 eye colors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a really good hint. If you can't get it after that, then you might not be listening to the right podcast. I'm not going to lie.
That's fact.
Thank you guys for listening. Let's go Mets. We'll see you tomorrow for the last one.